The Joe Rogan Experience.
What is your perspective after the incident versus before the incident? Like, how much did it change the way you view the world and our place in the world?
For me, I never believed that we were alone. It's just me. I just look up and go, there's way too many stars up there for us to be in one place. After it, it makes it a little more clear to go, one, my questions are, where'd it come from? That's the biggest one. Of where'd it come from? What was it doing? And then I've asked, why me? I mean, why did I happen to be, because you can say wrong place, wrong time.
Right. Or right place, right time.
Or right place, right time. For me, it was, I think there's more out there. And if I could get word out to anyone, it's like, especially the debunkers of, one, quit trying to debunk it, because it is what it is. There wasn't a system glitch. This was a real incident that happened. And number two is, let's open our aperture a little bit and start thinking outside of the box. If you go, you look at it and go, hey, it's this non-reactive propulsion. Well, it's because when we came up with propulsion, we the people long before us came up with a reactionary propulsion system, and that became our standard. Had we done something different or we developed non-reaction, we might look at something like a gasoline engine and go, holy cow, how's that thing work?
Right.
We wouldn't have that idea. So, I think there's, if you look at it and go, people thought Einstein was kind of nuts, and we're still proving his theories today. And what we're learning is that he was right. And he was right. There was a time when the Earth was flat, except for some people in California. The Earth isn't flat; it's round.
It's not just people in California; they're all over the place.
There's not an ice wall.
Right.
So when you look at that and you go, a lot of the stuff that we thought was true isn't true. It's totally been changed. So for me, I just say, I think let's get outside of the box and go, if we can develop a technology that would, and I don't look at it from a military standpoint, because it would be a game changer from a military standpoint. Technology like that would be a game changer for mankind, completely. I mean, it would literally, everything that we do, and we don't know exactly, you could, do you want that system in a car? People have trouble driving in 2 dimensions, let alone 3.
Right.
It's kind of like your joke last night. I mean, you can't even handle the vaping thing, let alone driving a car that goes up, down, works in 3 dimensions.
Well, that was what they wanted helicopters to be. They wanted to be flying cars.
Yeah, if you get out on the road, you see how people drive. And I always laugh because people think, well, we're 3-dimensional. Like, we know that this table is not the floor, but really humans are 2-dimensional people. And you learn that, especially when we would fight, if you can really work in the 3rd dimension, which is up, and you go, well, we are 3-dimensional. I go, no, if you look at like a tall building is, 1,700 feet high, the big ones. And you go, no, for an F-18 to do a split S, which is go from up here and just do a vertical 180-degree turn, so you're going this way and you go down here. It's like 2,500 feet. And that's tight. That's a tight turn for a jet, unless you're running like vectored thrust stuff, but everything has a cost. So if you do some big Hayaka, you bleed off energy, there's a cost associated with that. That to a pilot, that's 3 dimensions. To most people on Earth, you go, no, I look at a hill and go, I don't want to walk up that thing.
Right.
And in an airplane, it's a totally different thing. So if we just open up that expanse, for what we're trying to do for technology and go, is there another way? Because we still build suckers and blowers, which is a jet engine. Mm-hmm. We just refine the internals, the turbines, to get them to be more efficient. Where I go, why don't you just put your efforts someplace else? Like I was talking to, there's a whole realm of physics that really doesn't get explained, and it's. I was talking to Steve Justice about it. It's more into the magnetics type side that we don't spend a lot of time on. And I know he said when he was working at Skunk Works, he did it's called IRAD, Internal Research and Development money, that he would fund to try and look at some of these other technologies for propulsion. And he's now since retired, but really impressive to talk to him at the level that you can, which is, for us would be an unclassified level. But, the stuff that goes on behind closed doors, there's reasons for it, because if a technology like that got out where someone could rapidly reproduce it after all you've done, or they got it first, you think of the atomic bomb, Germans almost had it. We got it. Russians were working on it. We got it first. Changed the world. Literally changed the world when we detonated the first one. And you go, I'm not going to get into the politics behind it, but Now we had it, and now it was the race everyone else because they had to get on equal par because it's a destabilizing thing. And now all of a sudden, if you develop a technology like this and you keep it to yourself, you've got something that no one else has, and it's a huge leap. I mean, it's a quantum leap. Do you share it because it's a mankind thing, or do you keep it for yourself? You know, and that's right now. It's not for me to decide. I'm just Dave.
Well, it's fascinating that some other method of propulsion could have been established in some other place.
Yeah.
And that we're experiencing it, or that you've experienced it, and some other folks have experienced it in action. And I just think for us as people, as human beings in 2019, it's really easy to think that what we have now is so amazing, and that what we have now is the pinnacle of discovery, and that what we have now is, with our electricity and with our LED screens, and that we are experiencing like the height of technology. When if you're some creature from some other planet that is got easy access to element 115 and some gravity propulsion system, you're looking at us like we're digging holes in the side of a mountain to protect ourselves from the rain. We're cave people.
Yes.
Yeah.
What we here on Earth.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at like a first world, like the United States,
Sure.
or these the developed nations, and then you go to some of these other and go, people are still getting their water out of a hole in the ground with a bucket.
Right. Or people in the rainforest that are living these indigenous lifestyles. Yeah.
So, take them something. I mean, take them one of these flat screens down to one of these tribes that no one's ever seen and go, hey, look.
Yeah.
And start showing them pictures of themselves that you're shooting real time or video that's feeding directly
Right.
into it. They'll freak out.
They'll think it's
like,
magic.
Would you capture my soul?
Right.
So it's where are we at and what are we going to do and what can we do?
Did it change the way you look at life? I mean, even though you knew that, or you had this feeling that we were not alone just from looking at the stars, but when you actually see the thing, like I would imagine that has got to really shift your perspective.
I don't know if it shifted my perspective, but it was more of it's a validation.
A confirmation.
To go, yeah, I've always like, oh God, there's a lot of stars. And then you see something like this and go, well, maybe we're not. Because that pushes you to the next point to go, if one lands in my front yard, then I'll be 100% sure that we are not alone because it's sitting in my front yard. But, I mean, I got within a half mile of this thing, which is, people go, well, a half mile is pretty far away. Again, not when you're flying an airplane. A half mile is like really tight.
When they bring you have these conversations with high-level government officials, how long are these conversations?
So I've talked to 3 different groups of people.
This is post the New York Times article? So the New York Times article came in 2017.
Yes.
And then our government.
The other pilot was involved, had been to D.C. multiple times. This is how I got in touch with Lou. She had called me and said, hey, I need to talk to you. So I called her and I said, what's going on? She says, hey, has anyone called you about the Tic Tac? And I said, no. She goes, I've been to the Pentagon like a half dozen times, and they'll take me in and anywhere from Starbucks to, inside of a vault. And she goes, and they'll talk to me about the story, and then they'll show me a picture. Something goes to look like this. And then she gets pretty frustrated and goes, we call it the Tic Tac because it looked like a Tic Tac. What part don't you get? I mean, go get a thing of Tic Tacs and look at them.
When they're saying, did it look, are they showing actual crafts that they have?
No, not pictures that they have, but a video from someone else. Like they'd show the gimbal video. Hey, did it look like this?
Okay.
And it was no. So, and that's when I told her, I said, well, just tell this guy that you're talking to, just give him my name and number. I go, I'll talk to him. It's not a big deal to me. And that started. So when I got asked, multiple times to go down and talk to people, one of them was supposed to be 20 minutes. And these are important people. Getting 20 minutes of some of these folks' time is like, that's a huge deal. So we went in thinking, okay, we're going to do the thing, 20 minutes, and then we're in. And an hour and a half later, we came out. I mean, that's the interest of, and there were some, you get the group, the folks that come in and out. But there's a few that just sat there and were enamored by what we were saying. Like, you're joking. We're like, no, this is all real. I mean, these are pretty senior officials that are taking the time out of their day to take this serious, to go, maybe we do need to put a little emphasis on this. I mean, if literally something can just show up at will and do whatever it wants, and I'd probably at least pay attention.
Yeah, pay attention. What would be done? I mean, what could they do? If you put yourself in a position of one of these high-level government officials, what do you do? Just spend more money on looking at them?
I'll get money, though. I mean, I know when the article came out and they talked about the ATIP program that Harry Reid got funded $22 million over 5 years. So it's $4.4 million a year. And you go, everyone's freaking out. Oh, it's $22 million. I go, no, it wasn't $22 million a year. It was $4.4 million. That's not even in the rounding error for the United States. We just got approved it was $750 billion for a defense budget. $750 billion. If you took $100 million out of that, it's not even going to put a dent. And I go, why can't you? If you're only spending $4.4 million a year, and you can actually get some good work done, because you don't need a huge team, because you figure if you look at, I think what's the number, like 10-15% of all these UFOs, like if you look at Project Blue Book, really remained unexplained. And you go, okay, so you can weed out, you can read out me flying over someone in a campfire and lighting my afterburners. So you can go, no, that was Dave being Dave. So you can weed that stuff out. Now you go, now I'm really kind of concentrating the funds. The most important thing, and I talked to the folks when we were talking, because we talked about funding, and I said, let me leave you with this. And I had got some pretty good stuff. I was talking to Chris Mellon, who's a former undersecretary and understands how the government works. So it was where he gave me some really good feedback. And I talked to him. I said, look, I'm all for you guys funding a program. But what you need to do is fund a program that there's going to be oversight over. When I say oversight, I mean, because what happens is you go, here's money, but we're going to distribute it in the government. So we're going to distribute it to these 3 different agencies across the United States government. I don't just call them agency A, B, and C. So you give it to them, and I'll go back to like the 9/11 stuff where we really had the answer, but all the agencies weren't talking to each other to put all the pieces together. And that's my fear, that you go, hey, we're going to take $100 million of taxpayer money. We're going to fund a program to actually seriously investigate this stuff and look at the technology. But there are 3 different entities working on their own and not talking to each other. So there's got to be a joint collaboration to where we go, we're going to do it, but, Joe's going to be in charge, and you guys are all going to play nice in the sandbox together because we want to get our money's worth, because people will raise the fraud, waste, and abuse flag that we're wasting money on something stupid.
The Joe Rogan Experience.
And if you're one of those people like me who, I've always loved the idea of UFOs, I became extremely weary talking to people who are UFO believers and UFO fanatics, because there's so many of them that are full of shit. And not just full of shit, they're childishly delirious. Like the way they talk about things. I mean, there's so many people that I'm in contact. They reach me in the night and they explain to me what we're doing to the ocean is wrong. And okay.
This is one of the reasons I want to do the show.
I'm sure.
Well, it's no joke. We've had people literally camp out on our front lawn, and in some ways I can relate to some of these people. Maybe some of them did really have some kind of experience or saw something, and all their friends think they're crazy. But hey, now there's this guy I heard on the radio, and at least he knows I'm not full of shit, so I got to talk to him.
Right.
And so most of the correspondence I get are people trying to get a hold of me, going, Bob, you got to listen to me. I'm coming to talk to you. I'm driving from Oklahoma or whatever, but some of them are just fucking batshit crazy, and they're frightening.
There's schizophrenics that are involved in the conspiracy world. So there's a lot of people that have real issues.
Joe, it would be a disservice to your audience to not say that we have to look at what's going on now and understand. I've heard on your show a bunch of stuff about what's going on now, and to not really understand what's going on now, you can't see Bob's story in the correct light after 30 years. And at some point we should just touch upon that. The biggest being that things like the Tic Tac UFO case that came out, I've heard people, even on the show, say, oh, there's a glitch in the radar. That's a data poor perspective. You just don't know yet what's really going on. Commander Fravor, I was able to get the interview with him, to talk with him way before it became public. I got that from him. He saw it. Other pilots saw it. This is a big thing that's going on right now. They had more sightings on the East Coast recently, cubes with spherical orbs. These are not aerodynamic, and these are the people we trust to defend us on 9/11. Commander Fravor protected Los Angeles on 9/11. So we trust them, but they're not trained observers. Radar, individuals see these things, and the big one, just to throw down so we can consider a story a little differently, there's more depth to it. The big one is the United States government has admitted that they have been continuously studying the UFO phenomenon. That program was called ATIP, was called OSAP. That's the mother program. George Knapp got that out. They announced through the New York Times about ATIP, but OSAP, these acronyms, OSAP, Advanced Aerospace Weapon Systems Applications Program. Who cares? That was the mother program. So they've admitted we didn't stop studying UFOs in 1969 with Project Blue Book. We don't think it's crazy. We actually want to reverse engineer the technology. That's why on your other show, you said, what's this AAV thing? It's like they're making up another UFO name. Well, hold on. There's a reason. Because in the documents, the DIA documents that George Knapp released, that everybody said was fake till now they know is real, they call them AAVs, which is Advanced Aerospace Vehicles. People are getting the acronyms wrong. So the reason for the terminology change is so that we can mimic what we're reading in the DIA documents. People can look for that now. So they changed the names to get people away from UFO or UAP, even like Hillary Clinton said on air, right? So
what are you talking about? Hillary Clinton said.
Hillary Clinton informed the public on Jimmy Kimmel, oh, Jimmy, we don't call them UFOs anymore. We call them UAPs, unidentified aerial phenomenon. Right, so she kind of was giving. The Clintons are very into the UFO topic. Senator Reid, he's done a lot for the subject, the study of it. Right, so she informed the public so they could look for the right term. So these terms are important because the DIA in those documents, they've been calling them AAVs for quite some time now.
And they changed the name to anomalous.
No, that's kind of a
Advanced?
misnomer.
No,
so they always mess around with things, but it's actually advanced.
Right, but when they're describing it in the news, they were calling it anomalous aerospace vehicles.
Totally. And that's cool. Also saying anomalous aerospace threats, AAT, right? Because they want the sense of a threat.
Right.
So my point is, if people don't know this now and they think this stuff is fantasy, this part of it, that we're studying it, that we take it seriously, we're spending money on it, and that we're getting great data from visual pilots to radar. That's why we know it's aerospace. They dropped from 80,000 feet. But guess what? That's the top scope of the Spy 1 radar is 80,000 feet. So the radar system they were using, it was coming from above that. So my point is this. If you don't understand that this is happening, you're just behind the curve because you don't have the information because of the stigma that you're talking about. I saw you get totally upset with the UFO topic. I met you first when you were totally upset with the UFO topic. It's the people.
When
you're doing your
pull this microphone.
I'm sorry, man. When you're doing your show, the Joe Rogan Questions Everything, I could see how frustrating it is. Trust me, I have been frustrated to hell. Luckily, my mentor is George Knapp, and he's taught me the pitfalls as I went through it. My whole point in this rant right here is just that we have to now look at Bob's story, but knowing the facts, not someone saying it's a bird, it's a plane, it's a glitch. They're not. And so if you don't know that, you just don't have the information yet.
Well, not just that, in the facts as we know them in 2019, not in 1988.
Absolutely.